Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So I'm going to give people a couple of seconds to tune in before I really get started. I see that we got like one person right now, so I'm going to wait a couple of minutes before I get started. But before I really get into this content, I want to briefly talk about the McClure twins' father real quick. Shout out to Miss Evans. Shout out to Nikki Justice. I'm going to get started in a second, but before I get started, I want to let you all know um, about this video that I saw that Paris Milan did. She did this video, further discussing the McClure twins' father and, his background and all that kind of stuff. I encourage you all to check it out if you haven't seen it. When I get a chance, I'll post a link in the description box because that like puts the nail in the coffin to that whole controversy. Here you had this guy who's making money off of these twins who more likely than not aren't even his twins. And then, she points out how he uses a racist URL on Facebook. So I encourage you all to check that out. I mean, it completely obliterates this idea that this guy just happened to make some kind of mistake when it came to these racial comments. So I'm not going to even say any more about that. I just hope that you all check out her video. When I get a chance, I'll post the link in the description box. She lays this whole thing to rest and raises some very interesting and on point issues and statements. So you all got to check that out. When I get a chance, I'll post a link in the description box after this video uploads. Yeah, so before I get started, I'm going to shout out the people that have already tuned in so far. Shout out to Miss Evans. Shout out to Nikki Justice. Shout out to DJ Wiz76. Shout out to Water Sniper. Yeah, for people that don't know, I'm in another town. I'm on a trip, business trip. And shout out to Psycho. Peace and blessings to all of y'all. Shout out to Jalen TV Podcast. Oh, thanks, Miss Evans, for your donation of $10. I appreciate the support. Yeah, Psycho, I have checked out the Riverwalk for a second. I'm gonna have to go. I've been so busy here, like I'm on business travel, so most of my time is really spent indoors. Like last night, I got a chance to just see it for a second, but I'm gonna have to spend some time chilling on that Riverwalk. It's real nice, man. It's cool. I thought it was gonna be much hotter in San Antonio, but it's not even that bad. Yeah, so I just wanted to talk to y'all real briefly about this article that I saw on the Grio, man. I was just like surprised. I mean, really, at this point, I really shouldn't be surprised by anything people say. But really, there's this show, this reality show, where you have these experts choose three men and three women to get married. In the description box, I'll have a link to the article that I'm referencing in this video. But so you had this show where you had these experts. They choose three men and three women, and they decide who they're going to marry. They pair them up, and they actually marry these people. So you had this one black man on this show by the name of Tristan Thompson. And this isn't the basketball player. This is another man with the same name. And he ends up marrying this Trinidadian Indian woman. So he marries her. And, that's not really the big deal that he married this Indian woman. The big deal is the statement that he made. And that's the statement that I used in the title. He said, I really don't prefer women that are darker than me. So he put that statement out there. He said it like it was no big deal. It was just like a matter of fact. He just said it as a matter of fact. And so you had these three experts that decide who they're going to pick to be on this show, who they're going to pick to get married. And you had the one black man out of this group basically say, well, I don't think that it's a good thing for him to be on the show. This guy is like superficial or whatever. He's shallow. So for that reason, we shouldn't even have him on the show if he's going to, pick a spouse based on their complexion and all that kind of stuff. But then you had two other experts on the show, two white women who saw nothing wrong with the fact that you have a black man, of I guess he's like brown skin or lighter skinned. He's a lighter skinned black man talking about he doesn't want women who are darker than him. These two white women had no problem with that at all. They saw nothing wrong with a black man basically talking about how he doesn't want to be with a black woman that's darker than him. And given that he's a lighter black man, that excludes a whole bunch of black women. He's basically saying that they're not his preference. He doesn't have any kind of preference for, women that are darker than him. And this just made me think about a couple of things. I mean, first of all, this keeps coming up in the media time and time again. You see these stories about these black men saying that they don't like darker skinned women. Not too long ago, I saw an episode of yeah, so somebody just asked who said that. Again, I'm just going to reiterate for the people that are just tuning in. There's this reality TV show where you have these people in arranged marriages. You have these experts who set these people up for arranged marriages, and you had this one person on that show who's not famous or anything like that. He's only on the show, and that's the only reason why people know who he is. His name is Tristan Thompson, and he basically said, I really don't prefer women that are darker than me. And this has generated controversy all on Twitter, according to this article on the Griot. So people are talking about this, and I just wanted to share my thoughts about this situation. And again, for those people who are just tuning in, there are three experts that make the decision as to who is going to be on the show. One of those experts is a black man who is a member of the clergy. And that black man basically said, well, I don't think this guy should be on our show because this guy is real shallow. He's only judging a woman based on whether or not she's lighter than him or, darker than him or whatever. So for that reason, he shouldn't even be on the show. But then you had these two white women basically saying they're fine with that. They don't have any issues with this guy saying these things about how he doesn't want to be with women that are darker than him. So I just wanted to quickly share my thoughts about this, and I want to thank you all for tuning in, and I will get to your comments in the chat room. I have a reception that I have to go to pretty soon, so this is going to be shorter than my usual hangouts. But the first thing I thought about was this, like I wondered out loud, like whether or not this is a coincidence, because this happens too regularly for it to be a coincidence. I think that a lot of these reality shows are scripted. Like not too long ago, you had Ricky Smiley on a reality show, and one of his sons made some derogatory statements about black women. You have this come out all the time where you have these black men who are public figures make these kinds of statements about black women and dark women. And these statements get amplified, they get publicized. And I don't think that's by coincidence, man. I think that it's partly by design. A lot of these reality shows are scripted. A lot of them are designed to generate attention. And I think what better way to generate attention than to start some controversy about color, about skin complexion and stuff like that. So I would not be surprised if this was not staged or anything like that, if it was not by design, that you would have something like this happen. And, so that's very troubling, that you constantly had these images put out here. You constantly had these statements that basically suggest that black men do not even love and appreciate their own women. So that's one thing that I wanted to talk about. And then like the message that's being sent with this kind of stuff, basically it's projecting this idea that there's something wrong with black women, that black women are less desirable than lighter skinned women or white women. That's the basic message that's constantly being put out here when you have these types of controversies constantly coming up. I've done many videos about this, like where you had that basketball player, Gilbert Arenas, basically say, that Lupita Nyong'o, one of the most beautiful women in the world, he basically described her as ugly because she's dark. And then the other day I was listening to Vlad TV. I was watching Vlad TV, saw this little clip of this dark-skinned rapper, another one of these dark-skinned rappers, this black guy, basically saying that he doesn't like to date dark-skinned women. You know, similar to the statements that that guy Kodak Black made. You know, not too long ago in the big scheme of things, basically talking about how he doesn't really like black girls like that and stuff. So you constantly get this kind of negative messaging. I mean, just imagine what this does to the psyche of black women and girls when they constantly hear this negative messaging being put out here, talking about how dark-skinned women are not desirable. And the sad thing is, a lot of these people who are saying that they don't want to be with dark-skinned women, like this guy on Vlad TV, are dark-skinned men talking about they don't want to be with dark-skinned women. And often you will see dark-skinned men with either white women or very light women, and that's not a coincidence. A lot of times it's because these brothers suffer from self-hatred. So because they hate themselves, they don't want to be with anybody that reminds them of themselves. They don't want to be with a woman who reminds them of how much they hate themselves. So they try to get someone that doesn't look anything like them, someone that doesn't resemble them. And a lot of times what happens is, you know, a lot of our brothers have been programmed to believe that dark skin is equated with being masculine, and they're programmed to believe that lighter skin is somehow more feminine than dark skin. They have been programmed to believe that white women are the standard of beauty. That's just the simple facts. You know, that's what has happened. You know, that is the reason why so many of these brothers don't like darker skinned women. Because for the longest time, they've been taught that a lighter skinned woman is a trophy. She is something that is a sign of progress. She's a sign of success, because often when you see these successful black men, whether they're in the business world, whether they're athletes, or whether they're actors or whatever, the first thing that they do when they get on, like Kanye West said in his song, is get a white girl. That's what they do. And Kanye West lived out the lyrics of his own song, man. So I just think that it's deeply problematic. You know, it sends a negative message to our sisters. It teaches them to hate themselves as well, man. You know, and a lot of times what people will do is they will see stuff like this, and they will say that this is the reason why black women are abandoning the black man, because of this kind of hatred that black men have towards black women. You know, this colorism is part of the reason why black women are opening up their options and all this and that. That's the first thing that a lot of these women will say. A lot of these swirlers, a lot of these women who have left black men behind, who have quote unquote moved on, and all that kind of stuff. Those are some of the things that they will say. But these women don't even reflect upon who taught these black men to hate themselves, who taught black people, period, to hate themselves. They don't want to touch that question at all. Black people didn't hate themselves from the beginning. Somebody taught us to hate ourselves. I mean, that's one of the profound questions that Brother Malcolm asked. He said, who taught you to hate yourself? Before we encountered this white man, when we were in Africa, we didn't hate being dark-skinned. We didn't hate our wide noses and our full lips. We didn't hate our hair. We didn't call our hair nappy. We didn't have derogatory comments for people who were dark-skinned before we encountered this white man. The white man is the one who taught us to hate ourselves. It's the white man that taught us that black skin was ugly. It's the white man that taught us that our hair was nappy. It was the white man that made fun of our full lips and our wide noses. The white man programmed us to hate ourselves. And the white man continues to do so with his media. He continues to teach us to hate ourselves. And we, unfortunately, carry on that indoctrination from one generation to the next generation. It has become a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, once they programmed our grandparents and stuff like that, our great-grandparents, and so on, they carried that on from generation to generation. That's why we hate ourselves. And it's well documented how they depicted black people. All you have to do is look at the images of the minstrel, how they would depict black people as subhuman, how they would depict us as grotesque, with wide, with huge eyes, huge white, grotesque looking eyes and exaggerated feet. Taught us that our black skin was ugly by exaggerating, our features, by featuring black people literally, by depicting black people with enormous noses and huge, fat, red lips to teach us to hate ourselves. And we wonder why our people continue to hate themselves. Here we are all these years later, and we still have black people who are ashamed of being black. We still have black people that look upon dark skin as ugly. We still have this. We still have black people talking about good hair and bad hair. We still have this kind of programming that has infected our minds. And when you look at the cause of this, when you go to the root of it, when you look at the history of it, you will see that it was the white man that taught us to hate ourselves, man. It's the white man's media that perpetuates these negative messages about dark skin and about black women and black people. It's the white man. But yet you have people that can't see the bigger picture, and they want to depict this white man, the same damn white man that taught you to hate yourself, the same damn white man that taught you that your black skin was ugly, the same white man that taught you your hair was nappy, the same white man that taught you that you came from a race of savages that can accomplish nothing. That white man. These women look upon that white man as someone who appreciates black women, as someone who loves black women, when it's the same damn white man that taught your black man to hate you, taught your black man to idolize the white woman. That white man, but you look upon him as some knight in shining armor. Just like these women, they make excuses for the white man. They're defending this guy, McClure, defending him despite his despicable statements about black women. You have to look at the source when you see these colorism issues rise up. Who taught us to hate ourselves? Who taught us to hate our dark skin, man? At the end of the day, it was the white man that taught us that, man. And unfortunately, we carry on those teachings that white man gave us. We carry them on generation after generation, where you have people, talking about the lighter skinned child is the beautiful child, and the darker skinned child is, something's wrong with that one. That one's not as beautiful as the darker skinned one. That's the kind of psychosis that we continue to suffer from. The psychological damage that we suffer from, the psychological chains that remain around our minds. And it's up to us to break those chains. I mean, in the words of Bob Marley, none but ourselves can free our minds, man. Nobody can do that but us. It may have been the white man that programmed us to think like this, but it's up to us to break these chains, man, shatter these chains. And one way to do it is to condemn programs like this particular show that put these people in these positions where they're saying these kind of derogatory things. This brings me to another point. Like when I think about like these white women's reaction to this whole situation, how they said, well, hey, it's no big deal. Suitable candidate for this TV show. He's still somebody that's suitable for marriage and this and that. That just makes it abundantly clear that this white woman, as a collective, they're not allies to the black woman, man. They couldn't care less about the plight of the black woman. Here you had this man, making these derogatory statements about black women, but these white women are fine with this guy being on the show. They're okay with it. They're okay with him talking about how he doesn't prefer women that are darker than him. What is it about dark skin that people have a problem with, man? Dark-skinned women are some of the most beautiful women on the planet. I love dark-skinned women, dark-skinned black women. And I can't understand why so many of our men do not appreciate the beauty of the black woman. The women that they find beautiful are the black women that are mixed with something. You know, the black women that are ambiguously black, you know, racially ambiguous or white. And that just tells you just how thoroughly programmed a lot of our brothers are. So these white women don't have any problem with that. And the reason why they don't have any problem with that is because basically you have a situation where you have a Negro placing a premium on lighter skin. And by doing so, basically he's placing a premium on whiteness. He is indirectly celebrating and elevating white women. That's why these white women don't have a problem with it. But yet these are your allies that you want to bond with and, you know, view as like a part of your struggle. Like they care about your struggle. They care about your plight. When they don't have any kind of love for you. So I'm sure you're going to have a lot of people, you know, some of these same people that were defending that guy, Tristan McClure, they're going to be bashing this guy for his colorist statements, while at the same time they defended a white man and his racist statements. They pushed that aside. And again, you know, I want to remind you all that, you know, I'll have a link to Paris Milan's video in the description box once I get a chance to, you know, where she talks about the latest news dealing with that couple. But I think that it's just a shame, like, that we go so hard against our own, but then we show love and compassion and mercy for others. You know, people that are other than ourselves, man. Just like this Negro probably has more love for this Indian woman than he ever had for any black woman. And that's because, in the words of Malcolm X, they've been taught to hate themselves. I mean, these brothers have been taught to hate themselves, man. Black people, period, have been taught to hate themselves. Why else do you think any person, or they get some synthetic hair, and they literally cover up their real hair and glue in? That's what self-hatred looks like, man. And our people, like, we won't get anywhere until we free our minds, man. We got to break those shackles on our minds. We have to learn to love who we are. When you know who you are, you will love who you are. When you know about the greatness of black people, you can't help but love black people. And it's just really sickening and sad that you got so many black men that don't appreciate the black woman. They don't appreciate dark-skinned women. Dark-skinned women are, again, some of the most beautiful women on the planet. And, you know, I encourage you all, like, for instance, to follow Divine Dark Skin on Instagram. You know, that's Chrissy's page or whatever. And you will see plenty of examples of beautiful black women. You know, it's time for us to celebrate the dark-skinned black woman. You know, and celebrate black women, period, because there's beauty in all of our sisters, man. There's beauty in the different shades of blackness. And it's time for us to appreciate it, man. It's just a shame that here we are all these years after Jim Crow, still color struck, still like using a virtual brown paper bag test when it comes to dating. And I think that that's sickening and disgusting. And it's time for us to do better and demand better, man. And I think one of the first things that we have to do is condemn these programs that promote this negativity, man. Make our opposition known to these particular shows and these particular venues that give these men a platform to bash dark-skinned black women. So I'm going to look at your comments before I close out. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I want to thank the sister for making a donation to this channel. I truly appreciate your support. And I encourage you all to like this video, to share this video. Yeah, again, I want to shout out Miss Evans for her donation. I appreciate it. So I'm going to go through your comments before I close out. Again, shout out to Psycho. Shout out to everyone in the chat room. Yeah, it's not even that hot here in San Antonio, man. I was just surprised. I thought it was going to be scorching hot here, man. But it hasn't been, fortunately. And then again, I spent a lot of time inside. Oh, shout out to Hollow Ninja 10. You said you didn't shout me out. Well, I'm shouting out you now. Orlando said that he loves dark women. Yeah, it does look similar to Vegas, DJ Wiz. It is similar. It kind of reminds me of Vegas a little bit. Um, I wish I was in Vegas. But many of the times that I've gone to Vegas, it's all been for work, so I don't even get to enjoy myself, just like this trip. But I'm going to try to make it a point to do something nice, like while I'm here. I want to go to the museum. I want to see the Alamo to see what that's all about. I want to spend a little bit more time on that river walk. So Hollow Ninja said, "Have I heard about what Ti is doing for his community? Cover it. Black men need to do what he's doing." All right, I'm going to look into that. I will probably post that kind of stuff on my other New Possibilities channel. For those of you who haven't subscribed to that channel, I encourage you to do so. But yeah, I'm going to look into that. I saw a documentary on Netflix called Rapture, and it featured a segment about Ti, and he was talking about like police brutality. He had some meetings with some civil rights leaders from back in the day, and he talked about what he could do today to help the situation. Like he talked to Harry Belafonte, and he also talked to what's that guy's name? Man, I'm blank. Andrew Young. He talked to Andrew Young and some other people as well about like, issues dealing with civil rights and stuff like that. So I'm really interested in knowing what Ti is doing for his community. So if you can let me know in the chat room exactly what he's doing, I will look into it and do a video about it. There's a whole lot of videos that I want to do on my second New Possibilities channel. So you all look out for that. Once I'm done with this trip, then I'll have a chance to do so. Um, the way my phone works, I can only upload to this channel, and I think I can upload to my I Declare War channel, but I can't upload to my second New Possibilities channel. So you're going to have to wait until I get back home. I get back home on Thursday. Yeah, this coming Thursday, I get back home. So I'm probably going to do back-to-back videos over there, and I may just go live and just talk about a whole bunch of things over on my second New Possibilities channel. So I hope that y'all support that channel, subscribe to that channel, like that channel, share and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so Jalen, said, why do we have the colorism problem, man? I mean, it goes back to white supremacy. I mean, I think that it's a manifestation of self-hatred, that has its roots in racism, the racism that we have suffered from. And basically what has happened is we have internalized the racism and the hatred that our oppressor has for us. Too often we look at ourselves through our oppressor's eyes. So when we see dark skin, we see ourselves and we don't like what we see because we've been taught to hate ourselves. unfortunately. Yeah, Water Sniper said, what a shame he would say something like that out loud. Absolutely. DJ Wiz said, I love dark skinned women. They make up 90% of my dating life. And he's laughing out loud. Yeah, I love dark skinned women too, man. Um, no, I'm not talking about the basketball player. Like I said before, this is somebody that has, unfortunately, has the same name as that black basketball player who's dating one of those Kardashian women or whatever. No, it's not him. It's somebody else. Oh, shout out to Brown Sugar Baby. Good night to you. Chance X said, I think it's planned because it would get them views. Exactly, because when people are talking about this stuff like right now, that's going to make people curious and want to see it for themselves, and they're going to watch the program because of the controversy. So, yeah, I don't put that, I don't, I wouldn't say, well, that's not possible. It's very possible. Yeah, Nikki Justice said, yes, it's not just black men, but dark skinned black men. Yeah, because I think that that's because of the self hatred, man. Because, like, a lot of times people think that only dark skinned women are the targets of the colorism and stuff. And a lot of times black women take the brunt of colorism. But often, dark skinned black men get teased just as bad or even worse, especially as kids. Like back in the day when, unfortunately people weren't like as conscious as they are right now. I remember, a dark skinned kid in our neighborhood, like growing up, he had like people would call him all kinds of names because he was dark skinned. People had all kinds of dark skinned jokes about him. So when somebody is raised in an environment where they're constantly being insulted because of the color of their skin, then naturally and eventually they're going to hate their skin, and they're going to look for something that looks contrary to them when they start dating. They're going to look for a light skinned woman or somebody that's white. I mean, and I don't know how many of you've seen Jungle Fever. Like they talk about that in that film. Like the main character, Wesley Snipes' character. They talked about how he was, basically verbally abused by people, calling him all kinds of names because of his dark skin. And because of that, he ended up, marrying somebody that's very light, and then ended up having an affair with a white woman and stuff. So I think that what happens is people internalize, and they internalize the self-hatred and they embrace it. They take it on and they live it out by choosing spouses that don't look anything like it, that like them. They take it on by attacking black women who remind them of themselves. Just like that rapper that I was telling you about that I saw um, on Vlad TV, who was, talking about how he doesn't want to date anybody that's his complexion or whatever. Because he said, basically, I'm already black. Why do I need to be with a woman that reminds me of myself? That's the kind of self hatred that a lot of our people suffer from, man. And it's sad. It's very sad. And Water Sniper said, yeah, by design, propaganda to cause conflict in the black community. And that's what they do. I mean, it does cause conflict because of this, you're gonna have people going back and forth. You're gonna have women who are angry about this situation. You're gonna have men defending this guy. Unfortunately, and that just leads to a further division of our community. Yeah. So that black guy on the show, like he was against having this I mean, the black expert was against this black guy, Tristan Thompson, being on the program. So he, I think that because he was outvoted or whatever, if I'm not mistaken, that's the reason why the guy gets to be on the show. I don't think that, the guy basically gave those people permission to discriminate against black women. Um, but yeah, my whole thing with Vlad is like, why would you have somebody on your show? Like, well, I mean, it was kind of like a spontaneous thing. He didn't ask this guy about colorism on Vlad TV. It just came up in the discussion. Um, and I'm sure, I mean, Vlad TV is all about controversy, just like most of these people, controversy generates views, it generates clicks, and it generates money at the end of the day. Yeah, that's a good point. Like DJ Wiz said, I never heard white people say, for instance, a white woman is too white or anything like that. You rarely hear that. Like, every now and then you'll hear somebody say somebody needs a tan or something like that. But for the most part, you don't have any white women, white people saying, well, this woman is too white. I can't be with no woman that's that pale or something like that. Because it's like they've been taught to basically worship themselves. They've been taught that they're all this and all that. So they have pride in their themselves and their race and all that kind of stuff. They celebrate their women. They promote their women. But you have a lot of black men who instead of promoting their own women, they're promoting somebody else's woman. And just think about how sick that makes you look to be putting somebody else's woman on a pedestal, celebrating somebody else's woman. Just imagine like how people view that, man, and how people view you that you don't even appreciate your own black woman, your own black skin. So someone said black men will never admit it, but there's something wrong with the way they see themselves as dark-skinned men. They are not comfortable in the skin that they are in, and they take it out on black women. Yeah, unfortunately, that's so true. Yeah, and Chance X says this, like about that Vlad TV video that I mentioned. He said that he saw the Vlad video, um, and basically he was saying that the guy on there, the rap artist that I talked about, doesn't want his kids to come out his color, and he was a fan of Kodak Black. And you hear this a lot, like they don't want their kids to go through what they went through. For instance, like if you were teased for being dark skinned and stuff like that. And part of me understands like why you wouldn't want your kids to go through that, to be, subject to verbal abuse and like teased and all that kind of stuff. So I understand it on a basic level, but it's just sad that we live in a world where you got to be fearful of your own skin, of having children that look like you. It's a shame that even though the white man taught us to hate ourselves, it's a shame that it's black people who are perpetuating the self-hatred, who are telling these dark-skinned jokes, who are alienating dark-skinned people, making dark-skinned women feel like they are less than these other types of women. And Nikki Justice said, exactly, white women are never disrespected in public. Yeah, I mean, you don't see white men like bashing white women in particular to the same degree that you see black men doing it. You don't see it. Like, I mean, I can understand like gender issues, but in terms of like specifically targeting white women, you don't see white men doing that. I don't see any other group of men doing that where they deliberately attack their own women while celebrating other groups of women. I rarely see that. Whereas here on YouTube, it is a cottage industry for black men to regularly bash black women. You know, you have black men on here who make money by bashing dark skinned black women. And it's a shame. So somebody says, can I please, yeah, I can't read that person's comments. Jalen said, please block black queuing. Yeah, somebody's been deleting his. Doug has been deleting his comments. I'm glad he's doing that. And I haven't read any of his comments so far. I don't know what he's saying, and I don't know if I can. Let me try to see if I can block somebody from here. Yeah, I can. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure on how to do it. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm on my phone, so I can't do it. So, and I don't. I think Doug is a moderator, if I'm not mistaken, because he hid somebody's comments. And I don't see any other moderators in here. Yeah, if I was on my computer, I would make some of y'all moderators. I'm gonna make Water Sniper and Brown Sugar Baby moderators as soon as I, next time I do a hangout on my computer. Water Sniper said those black dudes don't speak for anybody but themselves. Exactly. Nikki Justice said colorism is becoming extremely popular. Yeah, sadly so. I mean, you got like all these people that garner all this attention making these colorist type of comments. Oh yeah, so Doug, yeah, Doug is a moderator. So thank you, Doug, for taking out, those negative comments. I appreciate it. Doug said subliminal hypnotism through the media. We need our own media to reprogram the brainwashing. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like when your enemy basically controls the media, controls the messages that you hear, controls, what kind of messages you hear, or, even the educational system. When you have that kind of situation, you end up being brainwashed. You end up thinking just like your enemy wants you to think. Just bear with me a second. I'm gonna have to wrap this up soon. I'm running out of power. Plus, I got to go to this reception. Um, Johnny said, "Imagine if we were this outraged over gangs in the black community, black people killing blacks, or black people aborting their kids." First of all, black people are outraged about black on black, so-called black on black violence. I mean, we have to get rid of this myth that somehow black people don't care about black on black violence. I mean, all you have to do is look to that story out of Chicago that I did a video about, where you had thousands of black people in the streets protesting against inner city violence. So I reject the notion that black people don't care about inner city violence. I reject it because in my community in Baltimore, we have several organizations fighting against inner city violence. You have similar organizations in Chicago, similar organizations in places like Detroit, similar organizations in many cities, and you see many marches and vigils against violence in black communities. So I think that we have to stop exaggerating about how black people don't care about inner city violence and they just care about other things. The fact of the matter is, this issue is very important. The fact that we still continue to suffer from self hatred in 2018, that's very important. We can't get anywhere as a race of people as long as we still hate ourselves. Nikki Justice says shows like O'Shea Duke Jackson's taught us to hate ourselves. Yeah, I mean, he has had some programs that have projected negative messages and stuff like that. And I've talked about that on my I Declare War channel. But I will say this: he's changed his channel somewhat, even though he still talks about relationships and black women and stuff like that. His channel has changed to a degree, and I respect the changes that he's made. But I hear what you're saying. He has put out negative messages in the past, and I've challenged those messages in the past. Water Sniper said, dark skinned sisters turn me on immediately. That's why I stalk Rashida Strober's channel. That's funny. I like Rashida Strober too, man. He said that's why I stalk her channel. That's funny. Yeah, so Psycho, I guess you're talking to that troll. I don't know what that troll is saying. You said if you don't like black men, why are you here on a black man's channel? Yeah, exactly. Like if you hate what black men have to say, if you have moved on and you're beyond black and white, then move on away from this channel. Don't watch my stuff. You feel me? Yeah, hit that like button, man. Shout out to Doug, man. Thanks for putting in that work in the comment section, taking out the trolls. I appreciate it. Yeah, there has to be a way to block that guy completely. DJ Wiz said something that's important. He said, it's funny how white people will convince us to hate ourselves at the same time they're out here trying to get black features, butt injections, full lips, tans, black hairstyles. Shaking my head. Exactly. All you have to do is look at those Kardashians, getting butt injections so they can have big hips like, the stereotypical black woman. They getting those, lips injected with fluid so they can be full like black women's lips. And then, I mean, like the Kardashians, like some of them had like these tans so that they look virtually like racially ambiguous, so they look like they're not even white. So yeah, that's a valid point, man. While at the same time these people are teaching us to hate ourselves. At the same time, we don't appreciate ourselves. But because these people have had this plastic surgery and all this stuff to look like they are black people, they're celebrated as some of the most beautiful people ever. It's the hypocrisy of the media, man. The insanity of the media as well. And Nikki Justice said, even after finding out that these white men are abusive and a leader of the KKK, those silly black women still marry these clowns. Sadly, that's true. Water Sniper said, white men put out bad images about black women swirlers, then they turn around and say he likes me better. Man, it's just deep, man. The psychosis is deep. Miss Evans says, so true, we are indoctrinated to hate ourselves so much that white people capitalize on how much we want to look like them. Wow. And Psycho said, those swirlers tried to blame black men for that twin drama. Yep, exactly. All you got to do is go look at your Girl Who Swirls video. Brown Sugar Baby said, I would be scared to have that racist white man around my kids. Yeah, man, that guy he's not even the biological father of these kids, and he's acting like he's their father and stuff. Capitalizing off those kids, pimping those kids out to get money and stuff. Yeah, that's a good question. Like, why is dark skin bad? Like, why do people view dark skin as bad? And shout out to the sisters who say they love the black brothers. Shout out to Brown Sugar Baby. And then you have shout out to T who said, we love you too. Black women are beautiful. Uh, Ace Shabash said that he was just tuning in. What is the show about? It's about this reality show where this guy basically said that he doesn't prefer to date women that are darker than him. And we're just talking about that. Jalen TV podcast said those swirlers are taking L's left and right. Exactly. All right, let me just go. Oh yeah, that's a good point, Water Sniper. I meant to mention that dial test, man. That's a prime example of black people being indoctrinated. Here you have children, like 5 years old, already taught to hate being black. They did this test in the 50s and they did it relatively recently, where you had the children ask, which doll is the beautiful doll? And they pointed to the white doll. Which doll is the ugly doll? And they pointed to the black doll. Which doll is the smart doll? They pointed to the white doll. Which doll is the this dumb doll or something like that? And they pointed to the black doll. And then they were asked, which doll looks like you? And when they were asked that, they looked confused and hurt because they knew that that same doll that they were talking so badly about looked like them. Yeah, and then you like somebody mentioned Sammy Sosa. I mean, a prime example of self-hatred. I mean, where you got a brother that hates himself so much that he bleaches his skin so that he becomes a virtual white man. Self-hatred. You look at a little Kim who has undergone all this surgery and bleached her skin to the point where she looks like a virtual white girl. We got to learn, like Nikki Justice said, that black is beautiful, man. We need to love ourselves. Water, Brown Sugar Baby says successful ladies live is mentally ill for real. I can't argue with that. And her ugly laugh is disgusting. Yeah, man, I unsuccessful lady's job, man. I can't mess with her. I can't even remember the last time I watched one of her videos, man. That woman is something else, man. But you know what? Like, I think that the white man is doing us a favor by getting those kind of women off our hands. He is doing us a favor for real. By getting women like that off our hands, man. These women that are like, their only motivation is how much money the man has and stuff like that. Mr. Charlie can have those self-hating, uh, money bag chasing gold diggers. He can have them. He's doing us a favor by getting them out of our out of our presence, man. Yeah, I don't know what Miss Unsuccessful Lady's job is talking about, man. I haven't watched her in a while. She must be saying something that got the brothers fired up, man. My whole thing is, man, stop entertaining these people. The only reason why I listen to what's her name, the girl who swirls, is because I was just like curious about like what people were saying about this whole twins issue, the racist dad issue and all that kind of stuff. But I don't watch that woman's stuff like that, man. I can't make it through their videos without being disgusted. So why do that to myself, man? I'd rather listen to a sister that has respect for black men. I'd rather listen to a sister like true royal family. I'd rather listen to a Lashid for you. I'd rather listen to a Paris Milan or a radical home sister or somebody like that before I would waste my time. And by wasting your time, you're wasting your life. You're literally wasting your life away, consuming something that's only going to make you angry. So, yeah, I hope I get to see the city, man. I'm going to try to get out. I got to go to this. It's getting later and later. I need to go to this reception. But hopefully tomorrow I'll get to see the city, man. I want to go to the museum. I want to check out that water walk. Yeah, you know that these people are going to be talking about this stuff, man. All these people. Oh, thanks, Miss Evan. You like the bow tie? Oh, thanks, Doug, for posting my second channel in the chat. Yeah, y'all subscribe to that, man. That channel is like it's struggling over there. That channel is struggling. But I don't post as often as I need to over there. Hopefully, when I post more, it'll grow. But yeah, y'all subscribe to my second channel. That's a channel that's dedicated to nothing but positivity, man. I'm not over that channel. I'm not talking about racism. I'm not talking about these tough issues that I talk about on this channel. Black excellence over there. I'm talking about black accomplishments and black pioneers. So y'all subscribe to that second channel. Herb Saint said Ti needs to sit down somewhere. I gotta appreciate Ti for turning over a new leaf, man, because he did just do that trap music. That's all he used to be about, but now he's trying to get political. We gotta support that. Yeah, so I'm gonna check out the Ti thing and see what's going on with that. Yeah, but I'm gonna have to sign out. I want to thank y'all for tuning in, man. I truly appreciate it. I hope this broadcast is coming through loud and clear because sometimes, I'm doing a live stream and I'm thinking it's all good. Next thing I know, it's all choppy and everything. But yeah, with that, I'm gonna say peace and blessings to each one of you, each and every one of you. Please like this video, share this video, subscribe to this channel if you're not subscribed to it. Hit that notification bell so that you can see my content as soon as it comes up. So with that, I'm gonna say peace to y'all. Peace.